All right, welcome back here to the Hill on News Nation. It's the day after Thanksgiving, and maybe you're regretting that conversation you had with your relative, your friend, whoever about the election. Navigating conversations about politics can be tricky as you talk with friends and family who may have different views, or maybe similar views, but different ways to go about it. I don't know. Denise Gitsham, friend of the show, author of Politics for People Who Hate Politics, joins us now with how to navigate all of this. Hello, Denise. Denise, News Nation contributor as well. We can see on the screen there some of what you've said in the past. Walk me through this, Denise. So you're having that conversation. You're, whatever, around the table. You're with your friends and family, friends who are in town, family who are in town, and they say something, and you go, uh-oh. What do you do now?
Well, first of all, you're not alone if you did. Yeah. Listen, Thanksgiving was yesterday, and I always make a couple of missteps, and it's never eating too much pie, let me just tell you. Right. So if you're suffering from a little indigestion from some of the things that were said, I got a couple tips for you straight out of the book. Listen, when we get together at the holidays, it's so important that we think about who we actually are in relation to these people that we love the most, the people that we choose to spend our holidays with. So if you think of yourself as merely your political identity, you're really shortchanging all the people who've poured into your lives and really yourself, because that's not who you are. Your true identity as a friend, daughter, neighbor, and American is who you actually are. So go into the holidays, the rest of the holidays. You can fix what happened yesterday later, but go into the rest of your holidays thinking about that, because that's what the holidays are really about. Another thing I would just say is when you're in those rooms and you're stuck with Uncle Billy or Cousin Jane, read the room. There are people who are just a little too volatile. And I think that it's good to be a little more discerning in how and when we engage.
Do you just walk out?
There are times when that makes the most sense.
Like if I read the room and I'm like, I know where this is going.
You can run.
Or is that not the way to go about it? Because that's impersonal. Or not a way to deal with things.
Well, I'm a big fan of Kenny Rogers, right? Know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, and sometimes you got to know when to run. There are times when that makes the most sense, but most of the time, I think that there's a way to engage if you do so thoughtfully. If we're responsive rather than reactive, it takes two to tango. So we can decide in advance that that's not the person we're going to be at this time of the year, and hopefully that can last for the rest of the year. Who knows? Let's start with little steps, little wins, but we can decide that we're going to seek to understand rather than to be understood. We're going to seek to listen rather than force our opinions down other people's throat. And if you're not convinced that that's the right way to go, just remember, you can talk till you're blue in the face. You're not going to change my mind, and I'm certainly not going to change yours.
Right. So do you think the country will start to head in a better direction in 2025? This is an Echelon Insights poll from the other day. 58% say, yeah, very or somewhat likely. That's a higher number, Denise, than I would have thought, given the intensity of the election that we just went through. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think what you saw, I speak as a Republican when I see that, so recognize that it's through that lens, is that Americans wanted to change in the direction of our country. We saw the right direction, wrong track polls for the last couple of years have been pretty negative, very underwater. And so I think people are hopeful. And I do think that people want to change. They're going to get the change. We'll see whether that's the change that they actually hoped for. But I think that people are sensing a shift in a direction that's going to benefit them and prosper them. And as a Republican, I certainly agree with that sentiment. And since the majority of Americans voted for it, I think what you're seeing is a majority reflected in that poll.
Denise, can I tell you the thing that I disagree with you on right here? No, I'm joking. We'll leave it there.
Go for it, Blake. It won't be the first time.
Denise Gitsham, the author of Politics for People Who Hate Politics, friends of the show, News Nation contributor as well. Denise, thanks for being with us. Hope you have a fantastic weekend. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much. You too.